My only problem with this movie, which is 95% totally fucking great, is I just thought it wrapped up a little too cleanly. But other than that, I thought it was phenomenal.
It's a heist movie.
Sometimes it's your heist, really, really
sometimes your
good
heist movie just gets to wrap up neatly.
Yeah, but you and I both know
like
that
Ocean's
there's
11 with unknowns.
this movie does such a good job with a lot of non-actor actors, and it feels very genuine for most of the running time. I just thought that by the time you get to the end, most of these people would have been in jail or something. Like it was a little too clean.
But you don't know that they won't be, because one of the last things that you see is Sean walking out of his class, and that SUV comes rolling through.
Yeah.
And he's like looking at and she what's her name, got her leg fucked up, so there's gonna be somebody might look into that, like, oh yeah, your girlfriend did this and you had no idea. Like,
I really, really like this movie.
This is my favorite movie I've seen this year so far, by far. So it's going to take a lot to...
I thought the film was well made, and it was actually the last third was a neat little that tightening the noose kind of caper film. But I had some very serious moral problems with this film, very serious ones, because it's about a bunch of people blowing up a pipeline. And now, whether or not you agree with the thing is,
it's in the title, Scott.
The morality of the
film, giant red letters. As soon as the movie starts.
I'll wait. The morality is completely portable in this thing. It's like,
it's not.
It is.
No, it's not. They have a very clear morality that they express.
It's not. It's a very it's very specific. We like and agree with this film because we like and agree with the main characters in this film who happen to be liberals.
Oh, I think that this is a pointless exercise.
What if this wait, hold on, let me finish. What if this film was about a bunch of guys wanting to blow up the World Trade Center?
Well, okay. So
or an abortion clinic.
Let me interject just for a moment. This is a piece of propaganda, is what this is.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And the people who made it will readily admit that.
And I haven't I was like, is this triumph of the will for liberals? I don't understand. But I agree with this message, but I didn't really like the picture. They made it
so you would agree with the message. They
made
it that way.
I don't care about your even if I agree with your message, I don't want it spoon-fed or hit me over the head with a fucking hammer with it, and that's what this movie does, and that's why I think it's a failure.
But I've done a non-fiction book.
Hold on.
And you can kind of tell.
Wow.
Didn't you guys feel ultimately that the movie did a pretty good job of objectively you could look at what these people did and know that it was probably not going to change a goddamn thing?
Oh, yeah, like most.
Like the oil companies got $10 bazillion to fix this pipeline with, and they'll just fix it and things will keep moving.
But the oil company is not really a character.
Well, one of them mentions the people in the film. It's just going to put people out of work.
Yeah.
It's not going to move the needle one iota, and I think the movie knows this.
Great.
Yeah.
This movie is not
the characters don't.
This is not an optimistic film. Like this is This is not a movie that believes that these people have actually done something to save the world.
Correct.
No, it's not. It's a guilt trip movie though that yells at you in the fucking face at the end and says, you better be for us, otherwise you're a fucking evil son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That's what this fucking movie does.
Yeah,
and even though I agree with these people,
and that's the point they want to make.
Personally, I agree with these people, but I don't like that kind of art. I don't like that kind of
every character in this film is a cartoon character. Every person, everybody had personal harm caused to them by an oil company. So
that to me was the weakest thing, Scott. Was the backstories were very
the backstories are very weak.
There was the fun liberal couple, the white couple from Portland, and there was the woman next to lived next to in a refinery, and there was
my favorite backstory is the black. My favorite backstory is the black kid. The black kid who literally just looks on social media at a couple of articles and then immediately rings the phone and says, "We got to blow up shit." I'm like, this is what? Like that doesn't.
Exactly. It's childish level.
Yeah, but that's it. That's one aspect of who this gang is going to be. One of them is going to be that person who's radicalized on the internet and has no real skin in the game.
And then you've got
That's
the
realistic,
guy
actually.
whose land has been taken away.
Dwayne
Dwayne
is a
irony
great
that he's
character.
explaining how this
Dwayne's a redneck
extra
Jedi.
land,
Dwayne is a redneck
to
Jedi.
the fucking Native American.
You know what a redneck
Yeah.
Jedi is? Do you ever watch The Walking Dead?
No.
Like the
Sure.
first couple seasons, yeah.
Oh, but
First couple
the
seasons.
guy who was the hunter guy, the redneck in that show.
Oh, Daryl.
Daryl, redneck. He's a redneck Jedi. He is a guy who knows he's a basically a Southerner who is, you would think would be a conservative, but actually kind of goes with the flow and actually cooperates with liberals. He's a redneck Jedi. Yeah,
he is a conservative.
It's completely unbelievable. It's totally unbelievable.
Well, they started with this. They started with a nonfiction book, and you could just hear the arguments from the book being grafted into the mouths of these various characters.
No shit.
And to me, that was the weakest thing about the film.
I thought the backstories were the weakest part.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is the backstories were
great if they just had dropped all of that.
Kind of like Jared was saying about Gravity. It's like we don't need to know about Sandra Bullock's child that she lost. She's in space and she's got to get out. She's got to get out of the castle and get home.
Shit, that was sauce.
If you just did the caper and left out the backstories, it would have been maybe better, but it also would have been really short.
Give everyone a reason. It's got to give everyone a reason for why they're doing it, and they do it poorly, in my opinion. And I think overall the acting in this movie is not very good.
I thought it was good.
I'd actually disagree. I thought it was well done. I
thought the native kid was good. He was really unpredictable and scary.
Yeah, but he was also one note. It's like
but they're all.
And I think that.
Let me back up and just say that.
They're types.
Like
a really good job.
Again, it's a heist movie. This is what you have. You have types in a heist movie. That's
okay.
Like,
it's just that I've seen.
I also didn't think it was.
Movies.
It's not particularly a good-looking movie either. I don't think. I know they did 16, which I love, but I just don't think it's flat looking.
Remember that I talked earlier that I was going to talk about 16 millimeter in this thing. This is my platform. 16 millimeter talks to the narrative. It tells you that this is real. That this is almost like a documentary because it has that nice flat look. Like you're just capturing everything immediately. And that was actually really well done. I thought that.
But they didn't block it like a documentary.
No, but they didn't block it like a documentary. It was actually blocked like a real film, but it was shot in 16, so you're halfway there. So
and that's okay.
Kubrick did it better in Strangelove. Okay,
for sure.
Shot in 35.
With the handheld stuff, like at the shootout at the base.
At the base.
That looks like documentary footage for sure.
But they use orthographic film, the green sensitive film for that.
Yeah. I kind of wish now that you bring that up, Scott, that they had gone that way a little harder and really tried to make it look like documentary footage, like verite, like following the people around,
like
Battle for Algiers.
Instead, it was somewhere in a gray zone between that and a sort of a Hollywood heist movie with the way you would shoot it to build tension and stuff like that. So I felt, in terms of directorial style, the thing is sort of just it's not super inspired.
You know what?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go back.
It works. The suspense works. Is it going to blow up before they want it to and kill somebody? Is it going to
flares? The flares that would go off.
I will say.
Who said the Battle of Algiers? Who mentioned the Battle of Algiers?
Jim.
Did.
Why did we care about those characters and some of us didn't care about the characters in this film? What's the difference? Because I cared about the characters in Battle of Algiers.
I cared about these characters.
They're doing the same things these
and
guys are doing.
They're also like right? They're mostly non-professional actors.
Oh, maybe. It's interesting.
I spent the entire movie knowing that these people were going to go and do this thing, and ultimately it wasn't going to make a goddamn thing. Right. And I still cared.
There was one aspect of this movie that I liked very, very much, because I didn't really care for almost all of it. But I think that this score music is
fantastic.
The music's really good.
Fantastic.
Really good.
It reminded me of obviously other scores, but it made it its own. It was very, very cool.
Cliff Martinez. I was like,
Cliff Martinez.
It reminded me of Cliff Martinez.
Tangerine Dream.
It was really good stuff.
Tangerine Dream, all that fun, but they did it really well. You hear a lot of scores like this because people want to rip off that stuff, but I thought this is a movie that did it well.
It was a good version of that.
It's haunting music. Like if you listen to this apart from the movie, it's really depressing. Like you you don't feel like creatively fulfilled or anything in it. Like it does add to the incredibly bleak tone of this movie.
Now, mind you, that I thought the costumes, the props and settings in the film, and that kind of thing was really good.
Yes.
The attention to detail in the bomb stuff was also
and
pretty great.
I'll get back to that in a second, but this is what Jared talked about non-famous people being in movies.
Yeah.
If you have non-famous people being in your movie, it
can be very effective.
It feels very real, and this film felt, in a lot of respects, very real.
Scott, what did you call the guy, the Jedi? What'd you call him?
The redneck Jedi.
I thought he was one of the standout actors in this thing. I thought he was pretty.
He was really good.
He's probably the most famous person.
He is. He's been in some stuff.
He is.
You can tell. Oh, it was nice to see Sasha Lane
Cage,
again, by the way, because she was in.
Cage has been in some stuff too.
Sasha Lane, I liked her in American Honey, but everything I've seen her do subsequently, I've been very disappointed, including this.
Yeah.
Although she needs a good director, because she is, even though she's been in a few things now, she is still.
She also needs to change.
They found her on the beach. They found her on the beach and put her in a movie.
She has the same exact look in everything.
She looks the same
in everything. She does not change her hair for a role. She does not change. I don't think she changes her clothes for a role. I think she just.
But then casting directors like, we need a Sasha Lane type. It's like, no, we'll just get Sasha Lane. He looks the same.
Good type is though, kind of a vapid-looking blonde who you know is going to portray everybody. Come on, that's great.
Sasha Lane's not a blonde.
No, she's the girl with dreadlocks.
The girl with the dreads.
Sorry, whatever. Oh, the one that was sick.
Yes.
Yeah. The one was sick.
Never mind. I was taking.
She also looks like. I realized this. She looks like Snoop Dogg.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well,
like
a ton. It makes me want to. It makes me want to picture American Honey though. It makes me want to picture American Honey.
There's another objection. I'm waiting for the guys who are more technical than me to kind of weigh in and tell me I'm wrong. But I thought the whole thing about the making their own blasting caps. You know, they got the tamp it in there with the wooden dowel and make it all work, and it's super dangerous, and I carry it around like a explosive birthday cake, kind of thing. Was a MacGuffin.
Nope, that's all real.
I know it's real, but they don't have to do it. They could have just.
Well, yes, you do.
I was thinking the entire time I was watching it, like, why aren't they just breaking into a mining company and steal blasting caps or
because
that's easier. It's safer.
Because the fucking government's going to track that shit like crazy.
Who gives a fuck? They're going to be gone by the time the government does it. It was a way of slowing it down and adding artificial danger to this entire story. Why make your own? It's available commercially everywhere out there.
You realize that's really not anywhere near as easy as you think it is. Like, break into a mining company and steal the blasting caps. They store that shit the way the military stores,
or like
bombs.
The drugstores stash Vicodins now.
Right.
We should talk about my teenagehood sometime.
Were you breaking into military bases and stealing RPGs?
No, but blasting caps.
Also, what you're saying is they should have come to you, Scott.
That was before Oklahoma City. That was before 9/11.
Right,
okay.
Yeah.
That's true.
Hey, you old guys, remember the PSAs when we were kids? Don't play with blasting caps.
Yes, remember that?
You could just go down to the train tracks and fucking find them laying on the ground. Apparently,
you put a 9-volt battery and boom, it was great.
One of the things in Heat that you could not do today is the beginning of Heat where
they go to
shows up and he buys the debt cord at the mining place with an ID.
He just signs
you can't
off.
do that. Like the world is different.
Yeah.
Jim,
where did you find the box of dynamite?
In Nevada in an abandoned mine.
Yeah, it was easy back then.
That's definitely
fucking
something.
cool.
That's
I
definitely
also
something
brought home like half a mile worth of fuse.
Yeah,
Wow, cool.
was it? Was it? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's definitely something you want to mess with is old fucking dynamite. Like that didn't.
Oh yeah,
we didn't watch a whole movie about that.
We watched a whole movie about not handling old dynamite.
Diamond Dynamite Company.
It's like, I'm just gonna leave that alone.
I was also 7 years old.
Everything I know about dynamite was probably from like a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
And Sorcerer.
Yeah.
I actually thought, and I brought up the Anarchist Cookbook because I understand, that's obviously been around for decades. But I found one of the things that I liked about this movie the most was the stuff at the beginning where they were getting the shit together to build the bomb, and then like that entire sequence where it blows up in the guy's face.
Yeah.
Like that was great.
What kind of so the Native American kid though was like slowly making bigger and bigger bombs, and he was like posting about it. I mean, wouldn't that be illegal? I don't know. Wouldn't he have some eyeballs on him?
There's a lot of shit like that out
It's
there
on Reddit.
though. Like
Go look at
there's-
4chan, man.
Yeah.
4chan, yeah, 4chan, exactly.
I mean the Texas mall shooter was posting all of his Nazi shit on a Russian message board, and nobody noticed until he did it.
Oh, shit.
They usually find this shit out.
There are some people who are into this thing,
Right.
just the technical stuff. They're there just to blow shit up, you know.
Right.
I do like the.
Well, and that's what he's there to blow shit up.
Yeah,
That's
he's-
all.
yeah,
Like
That's his job.
he
That's
just
his
wants
job.
to. He just wants to break stuff. Like
Yeah,
he's obviously. I mean, this hellscape that he comes from. Like
He almost didn't require a backstory. I would love to do some downtown Chicago.
That's one of the backstory scenes that I liked. I thought he was one of the best characters, and I loved that fight he picked with that guy, which was so nonsensical. About is it warm in your house? And his I like your jacket. Can I have it? It's just
Yeah.
Where are you
Bizarre.
from?
I
from-
like the fight he picks with his mom when he gets home.
yeah.
Like that feels like a real like 19-year-old argument, you know.
Right.
Right, and it's intergenerational.
For
It's
sure.
like-
Everything you're doing doesn't mean shit.
I
It just
did
makes
like
you
the
feel
fact-
better.
I did like the fact that the technical advisor in the credits was credited as anonymous.
Yes,
That's actually pretty smart.
the technical advisor. I heard an interview with a bunch of the people who worked on this movie. The technical advisor is somebody who did some, let's say, off-book stuff in Syria and Iraq. And so he has a lot of understanding of improvised explosive devices, and they had a lot of conversations back and forth about how much to show in the movie. And they're like, well, we're going to use all the ingredients that we mentioned will be real. We're not going to give you the actual amounts, and we're not going to show you the whole process.
Right.
Like that was they were like, we'll give you 80% of it. We're not going to give you the whole thing.
Mhm.
And even so,
You'll find that shit anywhere.
well, and also the Kansas City Star wrote a whole thing about how this is encouraging terrorism, and it's like, well, yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. kind of the
That's kind of the point.
raison d'etre. Yeah.
Right, like, this movie that's about blowing up a pipeline is encouraging people to blow up a pipeline. That's weird.
It is. It's about blowing up pipelines. Hey.
How to?
Well,
Yes.
is it
How
really-
to?
It's not
to?
really. It's not that.
They should have retitled it "How to Blow Up a Pipeline and Make Friends," or what's that book?
No, it's
How to Make Friends and Blow Up a Pipeline.
How to succeed at blowing up a pipeline. Make the musical version.
Yeah, that was this lazy agitprop about a bunch of friends getting together and blowing shit up, and it's like they all had backstories. It's like a Tarantino film in the worst possible way.
Yeah, it was really clunky. Here's
Yeah,
this person's
clunky as
name
fuck.
in a really sort of
Tarantino would, find
a
something.
sort of lackadaisical, not very deep
Oh, they're
backstory
there.
on
Here's your
them.
backstory, and then
Yeah.
here's your backstory, and then it just kept interrupting itself all the way.
I agree. It would have
Yeah.
worked better. Just throw them into it. Just
Yeah.
throw
I
them into
liked
it. We
it.
don't need any of that.
I didn't like
It was a fun movie to watch, and it was better than the Tina Turner.
It's way better than that Max Stuntman film.
If you guys compare the two, I don't know, man. It's like that's a tough.
Oh, come on.
Knight Rider.
They're
was-
too different.
Come
They're way too different. They're way too different.
Come on.
They're way too different.
There's one thing. There is one thing that I will say about this movie, which is something that the book does that I wish they had done more of in the movie, is talk about. There's a real theory of self-defense argument that these people are doing, and this is a real idea that's out there, is that there needs to be, if you agree with the guy who wrote the book and the people who made the movie, a self-defense theory that takes into account non-immediate harms.
Right.
And the whole point of this is that they want to get caught. Zochi wants to get caught because she wants to pitch that theory in court.
Establish it as a
That's-
legal precedent.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the thing that she wants.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
like,
the book was written by a Swede, right? It
Yeah.
felt very European at times. The movie.
Okay, if that's the argument, how to blow up an abortion clinic, how to blow up a Democratic National Headquarters. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but
Those
guess what?
mo-
Guess what, Scott? Sometimes bad people shoot good people, and sometimes good people shoot bad people. Morality is deciding which one of those people you're on the side of.
True.
Like,
True. And this film makes pains
Yes.
to get
And
the
nobody
audience
thinks
on
that
their
they're the
side.
bad people, by the way.
The film takes
Right.
pains to get the
Well,
audience.
they go to great lengths to show that.
In fact,
they're
if this
gonna be
film was
turning
about
off
how to
the-
blow up an abortion clinic, I actually would have liked it better because I wouldn't have hated everybody in the film, but it would have been saying something that actually was kind of a little more real and significant. You know what I mean?
Wasn't there a Laura Dern
I-
movie about blowing up abortion clinics?
You know, this is a weird feel good film. This is a foodie. You know what I mean? This is a liberal foodie film for people like blowing shit up. I mean, it's
No, again, but Scott,
you realize
I
this
get-
isn't liberal, right? Liberal
oh,
is
this
a-
is liberal as fuck.
liberal.
What are you
Liberal is a
talking about?
centrist. Liberal is a centrist economic philosophy. What the fuck are you talking
No,
about?
no,
this
shit.
is a
This is
leftist
so-
movie.
No, this is a whatever. It's a leftist liberal.
Those
whatever.
are different things.
No, this
They
is
are
people who
different.
should- nobody who shows
Old people remember when it was the same thing.
It
No,
was never the same
Liberal has
thing.
been redefined.
It was
Anybody
no,
who
it
shops at
wasn't.
Whole Foods is going to agree with everybody in this goddamn movie. That's
That's not true because liberals like order more than they like anything else.
Yeah, and
this is
big
But that's a
disordered
generalization as
property,
well. I'm not going to
Right.
I've said what I've got to say about this thing.
which they sort of touch on in this.
Well,
film.
most liberals
Yeah, they
are left leaning.
All right, all right. This is,
again, I would
But not
just
as
say-
far left as leftists.
this is getting weird and strange.
Anyway, I wanted to make a point, which I forgot about earlier, which is that there is a pretty good bit of suspense and misdirection and twist at the end of this movie, and it all fucking works. As much as we're criticizing, the backstories are clunky, some of the acting's not great, but the whole thing about those two stoner kids and the girl is spying on them, and we don't know why. Then we find out she cut a deal so that she wouldn't get thrown in prison.
The world's stupidest FBI agent.
Yes.
Oh my god! Come on.
But yeah, the fact that she was able to pull it off, you mean?
Here's some money.
No, but then we find out that they had even a bigger plan.
It's like, come
Yeah.
on, it's so stupid.
That's-
The dumbest FBI agent.
That's literally how undercover stuff works.
It's not like that. You have to be you have to be a
Go
moron
okay.
not to walk into that motel room and see what shape the guy's in. Total moron.
She took her word for it that she was by herself and her boyfriend wasn't there.
freaking propaganda. That's why
She specifically, Xochitl specifically says they want to have somebody to catch. They want to have somebody to capture. So
Well,
they
that's-
give them someone to capture.
And I love that ending. I love that. And we're going to surrender because we want to be caught. And that was a great
That's
way
part
to.
of my plea deal. That's why. Come
Yeah.
on.
You didn't like it.
Yeah,
I liked
that's-
I liked it.
I'm with Scott.
Mhm.
No,
again,
I like holding that information all the way until the end too.
Same here.
'Cause,
Yeah,
No,
you know,
it was a nice twist. I'm not going to argue. In terms of the filmmaking, it was a nice turn.
But it was like,
But
they
you just don't believe it.
But they
I
just
don't- I
wrapped
don't
it
like
up. They wrapped it up so quickly, and they screamed it in your face, and I just thought it was
Oh.
like someone forcing a fucking spoon down my throat.
What Jared
again,
said. What Jared
I think objectively, this movie knows from the get-go all the way to the end that what these folks are doing is not going to move the fucking needle on the bottom line of that oil company one iota,
Mhm.
and I actually appreciated that.
I
there
get
is a,
your,
there is a sober realism.
because this movie
on
is
the-
not actually, and you're right. I think you're right, because this movie is not about blowing up a pipeline. This movie is about making every viewer either feel guilty that they don't agree with these fuckers, or
No.
that they should be, they should.
No.
They're like preaching to just like the virtuous, like the
I
people
agree.
who-
Loyal
With, I
bad
agree with
people,
Jared. I agree
good.
with Jared, and that's why I like the movie.
Oh boy. All right.
I agree. Again, for the record, I agree with these people. I just didn't like the film.
I think Chris has made the point that the what they did was hopeless and ultimately ineffectual. And I think after hearing him make that point 3 times, I think I disagree. I think the point of the book, I think the point of the book and the point of the movie is to encourage other people, and the point of what they were doing in the movie was to encourage other people to go blow up pipelines or other
that
forms of
is-
civil
that-
disobedience,
that
and
is-
spreading
Yeah.
the idea of
Yep.
committing civil disobedience
but it's
is
not
the objective.
blowing up pipelines.
Also, am I the only person-
They've successfully spread that idea to more people, and I hope somebody else will see this movie and be inspired to go blow up a pipeline.
You're right. But I think the movie doesn't. I think the movie doesn't think it's going to work. That's
Yeah.
the
The movie
difference.
doesn't. I don't think the movie
It
thinks
was
it's gonna
always
work.
gonna work, but you know,
No.
You notice that? Wait, hold on.
Not blowing up the pipeline isn't going to work. That the message getting to more people isn't going to work. You get the one shot of the people blowing up that boat in Miami, and that's it. Like there isn't a revolution. There isn't a spate of pipelines getting blown up. It ends up with 2 people in jail, one person possibly crippled for life because of how fucked up her leg got,
Yeah.
and
You died of the effects of living next to a thing. Yeah.
And so one
Yeah, and
copycat
people-
crime at the boat dock in Florida
Also-
is it. That is
Right.
the effect that they had.
Also, they didn't work in an evidential way because I actually filled my Jeep up with gas today, so I know it didn't work. You know, so that's the thing. So
Scott,
What's
Scott,
really
wait.
going to change?
Scott, what's the mileage on that? What do you get? What's the mileage?
Oh,
on
it's
that?
I'm embarrassed to say what the mileage is on that goddamn
How
thing.
many
It's got 6
gallons to the mile?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it got me
God.
from LA to here in 6 hours. Shut up. Anyway, but
You can get from LA to here in 2 hours on an airplane
well, that's true. That's a fair thing. And actually, might be
with
but
with
that
200
All
with
of
200
those
other
out there,
people.
then-
But that also might be worse. They talk about gallons per person on airplanes. Who knows?
Yeah,
But like I said, it
I liked it.
It was
I
it was
so.
an interesting kind of conversation about this, and this is probably one of the liveliest episodes we've done in a while in terms of this.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's interesting because it reminded me, some of you are probably, who grew up in Sonoma, are probably too young to remember this,
Yeah.
but we had a faction of the SDS actually blow up a substation, or they set
Oh, yeah.
explosives.
What?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
In
there was
Sonoma.
a substation got blown up in Sonoma. That's right. I forgot about that, Jim.
No
But
shit.
who was it? SDS. Who was that?
It was supposed to be the SDS.
Students for a Democratic Society.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're the
Yeah,
yippies,
right.
basically.
The Yippies. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh? I had no idea.
Well,
I don't know that it did any good.
anyway,
The greater Seattle area has a long history of eco-terrorism. People
Right.
burning,
the animal liberation thing is huge up there in Washington.
also people burning down like housing developments and stuff like that.
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
wow.
that's big up there.
Jim, can you explain your whereabouts?
He's
yeah,
asking when that happened.
You're a little
I
casual.
was in Altamira. Give me a break.
That's the junior high audience.
Produce some evidence. I think we have to hear this thing. All right, we can go on, but let's just go.
It doesn't mean that you weren't the point man. It doesn't mean you weren't the point man up in the tree, letting him know who's coming down.
You need
Okay,
They'll never suspect him.
you need a little kid because they're
That's
above
right.
suspicion.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's a minor, he won't go to prison.
Exactly.
Except I was out of electricity for like a couple of days.
But you were proud of it. You were like, right on, man.
I did that.
Yeah, then you went out in the hills and you blew up all of that dynamite you found in the mine.
That's right.
Yeah.
But that was A. Then there's
I brought it back from Nevada in a station wagon.
You and Roy Scheider are going real slow.
826. Jim admits he's a terrorist. Got it right. All right.
There's the clip.
There's the clip.
Yeah, no shit.
All right. Well, this is the okay. Let's go to cards.
All right, I like it.
Oh,
I think it's a 6 as a film, but I'm going to give it a thumbs up because I hope it encourages people to blow up some
I did
pipelines.
not like it.
The reason I'm not all the way down, I'm doing this because the music is so good.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'd be
It's
all
a
the way down.
7.
I'll crank over a little bit. And actually, I thought the acting was quite good too, and the costumes and everything in the set.
Once again, this is a movie that none of you would have watched if I hadn't made you.